my life like didn't change like overnight, like at all. Like it was these five decisions, five that kind of changed, I would say, the trajectory for me. Hey there, Lequita Travels. I document how small decisions build a work from anywhere life. So I'm here in Rawa Beach in Phuket, Thailand. And I would say the first decision that just kind of, changed things for me was when I decided to leave my job at the Department of Veterans Affairs. Now, it wasn't like I just woke up and was like, oh my God, I'm up out of here. Like, no, it was not like that. Like, I had the desire, the vision, the goal to leave. And as you know, with most people, when you're a social worker and you get a job with the federal government, everybody's like, oh my God, you reached the mecca. Like, I even, kind of felt that way myself. Like, oh my goodness, even though I knew I was never going to be there for like lifelong retirement. Like, that just wasn't my jam, but I was like, okay, like this is really good. This is awesome. Now I have, stability. I can actually, now I have the funds, right? So now invest in my business. So I started a business while I was there, but then life happened, started going through a co-parenting custody case. And during that time, life was happening. My daughter was in 8th grade. She needed some additional support. So I was kind of like, bump this job, my baby. My baby is like way, way, way more important than this job. And thankfully, around that time, I had already refinanced my home. So the money was just there in the bank. So the first thing was just quitting my job. And at that time, pursuing full-time entrepreneurship. It happened faster, right, than what I anticipated. But my daughter was my priority. So that was the first decision. The second decision was to go ahead and invest in myself. So I started investing in a variety of coaching programs. And I'm going to be honest, at that time, I didn't really make the money. I didn't get the dividends at that particular moment in time from the different programs I invested in. So I really didn't get a return on my investment at that moment. But I would say now, right, since I'm in a space where I'm, living this digital nomad, expat life, work anywhere in the world type life, all those tools and things I learned years ago, right, when I made that investment in those different programs is now paying off because now I'm applying those same exact things. So I would say that's the second thing, the investment. The third thing was, once my daughter became self-sufficient, graduated from high school, living in New York City, doing her own entrepreneurial thing, there was nothing necessarily holding me back to stay in Jacksonville, Florida. So that third decision was to have a conversation with my daughter about selling the house and then make a decision to put the house up for sale. Like, okay, we're going to let go of the house. And I understand for some people watching this video, you're going to say, why didn't you keep your house? That's generational wealth. That's passive income. And yes, all those things are very true. But I believe that for someone who already has consistent online income or you have retirement income, then I think it's a good fit for you to hold on to your home because you don't really need the money to live off of, versus someone like me who's been saying for over 6 years, I desire to be a digital nomad. I desire to, be an expat. I will work anywhere in the world, live, work, play, philanthropy, all the things. However, I haven't mastered the art of making enough money online to sustain that. So selling my house was more of a tool to leverage, because one, I already leveraged it once, right, to refinance it. And thankfully, that savings allowed me to quit my job and just figure things out. And since I'm a licensed clinical social worker, I knew I could make money. So then with this third time, it's like, okay, and once again, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so I have the skills, I have the ability. I just need a greater cushion of money to be able to make the transition. So the third decision was to actually sell my house. And meanwhile, and then I guess the fourth decision would be, before the house even sold, I went ahead and took a travel social work contract because I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, if I'm really going to make this happen, I need chunks of money, not like little pieces of, solution focused therapy sessions money. And also, like, I'm in a season of my life, I'm going to be 45 this year. And I guess I just don't feel like doing the hustle entrepreneur thing. Like, I've done it. I did a hustle entrepreneur thing when my daughter was like really small. I used to sell like Nairobi hair products. This is before I became a social worker. I sold Nairobi hair products. I flipped cars. I just tried to sell houses. I used to get titles on vehicles for repair shops. I used to go knock on doors when I was selling those hair products. Like, I've done a whole lot of entrepreneur thing pre-purpose, okay? But once I, figured out my purpose and that was become a social worker, then I've done the social work thing for almost, I want to say 14 to 15 years. So at this point, I am a licensed clinical social worker. But even as licensed clinical social worker, there were times where, especially since 2009, I've been in business full-time. And there's been a few contracts I've done here and there, and I've had grant funding. But I've had that season where it's the hustle social work, where you have to constantly post your content, have the conversations, do the sales call, make the close, and all of those things. And that works. Don't get me wrong. It works. I made some money doing it. It's just in this season, it's more about, I guess, alignment. And I don't feel like doing the hustle thing. So instead of doing the hustle thing, I decided to leverage the thing that I know best. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So I took a travel social work contract in Salem, Oregon. Mind you, at this point, I still have the house. I'm still paying all the bills at my home. And now I literally packed a luggage with just my work clothes and just enough for me to use, enough things just for me to hop on a flight and go to Salem, Oregon and do a travel social work contract in behavioral health. So that in itself was like, a big decision. But I went ahead and did it, and I just believe that in the mix of that process, I can make, over 6 figures, right? With doing this contract, and which then could afford for me to pay my expenses in Salem, Oregon, and then also pay my expenses in Jacksonville, Florida still, because I still had the home. And thankfully, I'm glad I followed my instincts and I didn't wait. Like, for some people, they might have said, oh, I'm just gonna wait until the house sells because I don't want to pay double expenses. It's like, no, I make enough money at my contract, so I'm going to go ahead and move to Salem. And then I did end up getting my car shipped there, I think within a month, after I've gotten like a month worth of paychecks. And from that, it was just like, I guess in a sense, a waiting game. And I had the house for sale by owner because I was being too cheap. Because I wanted to make the most money, and I'd be doggone. Things worked out as they needed to work out. I actually ended up getting a buyer who paid full price, and they had a realtor, so it worked. So the realtor, in a sense, did double duty, and they got the appropriate commission since they did double duty. So that was amazing. So the house actually sold while I was doing my contract in Salem, Oregon. And then, I'm there doing the work, doing my thing, and then my contract actually ended a month earlier. I had already put in the resignation for me to end the contract just to be there for 6 months, but guess what? It ended up ending a little bit earlier. So it ended in like 5 months. So it was like, oh shoot. So at that point, I think that was the 5th decision. It was like, okay, am I going to continue to stay in Salem, Oregon and paying my rent, which is almost $1,100. I was staying in downtown Salem in a high rise. And then also I had to pay $100 a month roughly for parking. So it's like $1,200. So it's like, okay, am I going to continue staying in like Salem, Oregon? And I'm going to spend $1,200 between my rent and then also my parking? Or do I just need to expedite things? Because I already had booked my Airbnb and I want to say flights to go to Da Nang, Vietnam for the month of June, right? But then since my contract ended in April, which wasn't the intention, but it still worked out, I was like, well, you know what? Let's go. So within like 3 weeks, I went ahead and booked my flight to Phuket, Thailand, booked me somewhere to stay. Now, the first place didn't really work out, but we'll talk about that more in a different video. But either way, it all got done within a matter of weeks. I also at that time sold my car, and I actually made a profit off that, and I wasn't expecting that. So it's been all of these small decisions that have led to where I'm at today, where I'm doing the expat digital nomad work from anywhere in the world life, and I'm building it as I go along. Because right now I am living off savings. I budgeted a certain amount of money for these 4 months. So I will definitely be in Asia for 4 whole months. And so I just want to say to you, be encouraged. Because, you know, with each thing, it was like with each decision, it led to something else, to something else, to something else. And this, and all of this, when I think about it, really started in February 2019. And we're in what, April of 2026? So it's just been little decision, little decision, little decision, little decision that has led to this moment in time where we're at today. So I would say to you, when you see people online or on social media and it gives the illusion, right, that it just happened instantly. Oh my gosh, they just gotta side at it a little bit. And that could be the case in some instances. I'm going to say maybe 1% of the instances. Or maybe they just came up with a lump sum of money and then they're just doing their thing. Okay, that's probably true. But for the rest of us, it's a process. I just want to say to you, it's just these 5 decisions. These 5, just the 5. 5 decisions, with the first one starting in February of 2019. That led to me actually being here in May of 2026 in Phuket, Thailand. And this is Lequita Travels coming to you from Rawai Beach in Phuket, Thailand.